All right, here we go. Let's get started. I'm gonna turn my camera on so everybody can see me. This is me. All right. I'll get my slides going real quick. And then I'll introduce, kind of who I am and things like that. We'll get started. So, all right. Hopefully everybody can hear me. We can see me now. This is who I am. I'm a father of three crazy kids first. I got a 13, 8, and a 3-year-old. My 3-year-old is the boy, and woo, he is crazy. All right. A lot of energy. So I'm sure you parents out there understand that, or, especially with boys. My beautiful wife and business partner who's on this webinar with me, Brittany, she's kind of moderating it and making sure everything's good on the back end because I'm no good at that. So she's great at a lot of things that I'm not, which makes it work out really good, really well. All right. So I was a former Army CID guy. I like to always explain that as like the NCIS TV show. So that show's a little bit more exciting. But that's what I used to do in my former life before becoming a real estate agent. I was a CID agent. So I was kind of an agent, right? Being a CID agent, my responsibilities were felony crimes. So believe it or not, the Army has a lot of felony crimes, bank robberies, murders, missing persons. I did the war crimes on Saddam Hussein. I was one of the actually was the first CID agents in country working with FBI, CIA, all them agencies, right, and acronyms to collect evidence and that stuff on Saddam Hussein. I did all the mass graves in that first year of Iraq, so I was digging up a lot of the bodies, unfortunately, of people who were executed. So I know a little bit about that. I also did the Jessica Lynch case for you older people like me, but all of you probably a little bit younger than me. But I also participated in that case and collected some key DNA evidence in Iraq for some of them soldiers who were actually executed. So just like to give my background a little bit. So law enforcement, I am a team leader. We're the &1 team at EXP here in Jacksonville, Onslow County. And I say that because there's a lot of EXP people here, in Jacksonville. But yeah, so I still am in production. I'm doing sales, and I love training and coaching and things like that. So for me, I've sold about 50, 60 every year in 9 years. So that's where I'm at now. My team last year, we did we have 161 units we sold. We have to sell a lot of units here because our volume is low. So as you can see, we got like a little over 30 million, but we sold 160 units, and 98 of those are listings. The year before, I think we listed 131. And I can't remember what the units sold now were, but we're a big listing team. Okay. And we'll talk about that in a minute. I have 6 agents on my team, 2 full-time staff. Each agent, it's about 1.5 years experience with me. So pretty young aside from me. And so we hustle and we focus on listings. I'm also the CEO and creator of RainmakerU. It's a virtual training platform, and it should be launched in the next month. I have a spelling error down there. It says moth, but obviously not moth. So, but it should be launched in the next month or so. So we're excited about that. That's why you see the Rainmaker background and stuff like that. And then I'm also an author, soon to be, for a released book, The Grit and Grind, Surviving and Winning Big in Real Estate. That should be coming out in the next month as well. I've already, gave the okay about, the cover and the final editing and all that. So I'm excited about that stuff. If you ever want to know how to write a book or how to process, hit me up. I'll definitely help you with that. It's a process. All right. So that's me. So let's get into listings, right? That's why you're all here. So look, I want to start with some belief statements. Okay. I think that's pretty key when you're doing sales or you're doing real estate, is if you can lead with your belief statements to even your clients, I think that will help you guys. So look, I believe that every agent should focus in on listings. Listings are the name of the game. It's listings to last. If you have listings, you'll always be relevant no matter what market you're in, because you have inventory. So you're always going to have buyers no matter what, if you have the inventory. Okay. Does that make sense? Cadillac or Kia, they're never going to have any buyers go to their lots if they don't have any inventory. So the buyers mean nothing to them if they have no inventory. similar, not as much as far as real estate, because we can still generate buyers and do some things. But ultimately, if you can be a listing agent and focus on listings, you'll always be in business. What I like to tell my team and when I train other agents is if you focus on one listing a week, one a week, right? What is that? There's 52 weeks in a year. See, I'm from Cleveland, not the smartest guy with math, but 52 listings a year. That's a lot of listings, right? Well, I think we all agree there. So, you could be a top agent, just focus on one listing a week. Not saying you should just do just that and that's it, but if you can just start focusing on that, if you're not a listing agent now, I would try to transition into being and then focus on one a week. All right. All right. So look, why do I believe listings are the way to go? Okay. Look, here's why. They provide you the most leverage, right? Like when I talk to agents that say, look, I want to have flexibility. I want to be able to do this and do that and do that. I say, great. You're coming to a great team because we're going to get you to focus on listings and it's going to provide you to that time of what you want to do. So we have on there, look, time. It's going to give you more time back. Okay. You don't have to worry about always working on weekends or later at night, right? Because most buyers are wanting to see houses, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 at night, and then on weekends for the majority, right? I mean, you're going to have some buyers that can come through the early afternoon, but generally speaking, we all know it's mostly later and on the weekends. So you're spending a lot of time there. Okay. So time back, more money per hour. So I say that because I know that if I get a listing today, so if I go meet one of you today, I get you say, you know what, Dave, we're going to go with you and your team to list our house. Great. Say I was there 2 hours. I come back, prepare the documents, say, right? Let's do another hour and a half or another 2 hours, 4 hours, 4 hours total to meet, to get it signed and everything, right? Then I got to get a photographer over there. Or if I take the photos myself, whatever you do, that's fine. But say that's another hour, you got to do it. And then you got MLS stuff you put in and all that. Let's just say you got 5, 6 hours all in, right? That's for the process of a listing. Okay. So now you know your hourly wage. Once you sell that, you can start seeing your hourly wages, right? If you're just focused on listings. A buyer will take you 4 hours in one day most of the time. At least our buyers. Maybe we have the most difficult buyers. I don't know. But think about it, right? If you're out there showing houses for 4 hours, I got a listing, met, talked, got it in MLS. For the most part, 5, 6 hours, it's done. I'm done with my listing. I make my whatever commission it is. And now I have everybody showing my houses and my listings, right? So that's another piece per hour, right? You can list way more houses than you can deal with buyers. Before the market shifted and everything's selling, right? I would list about 40 houses by myself all the time. Now, this was a way different market then. Houses would sit for 4 or 5 months before selling. Some will expire, but ultimately I could take on that many. I can't take 40 buyers on at a time. So there's no way I can have any leverage there, So even I had a top buyer's agent on my team at one point. She can deal with about 5 to 6 well. Okay. Now she can deal a little more at a time, but they get a little sloppy here and there and things get a little haywire, but about 5 to 6. And she was a go-getter, hustler. Okay. So, you take more listings. You never have to worry about buyer leads, right? I learned this a couple of years ago. If you focus on listings, you should be able to generate your own buyer leads if that's what you want. Okay. You're going to get sign calls. Maybe you do some open houses. Maybe you sit out every day. So here's a tip, which has nothing to do with this, but sit out at a vacant house, or maybe you have an investor or a builder. Just sit out there every day and do an open house every day. Put the signs out, do some Facebook videos, maybe some live, some Instagram, some TikTok if you're into that. I haven't done TikTok yet, but all of that, do that every day until you can sell this thing. And if nothing else, the seller's like, man, that agent's sitting out at my house every day trying to sell it. I'm sure a resale person would be fine with that too, because they got to keep the electric and water on anyways, right? So why not do that? Put open house signs, sit out there every day, use it as your office and draw traffic every day. Don't plan just always do one open house. Just make it your office and make that the open house every day, right? You got to get approval, but that's one way to do it. Okay. So you never have to really buy buyer leads if you have the listings, because agents will bring buyers, sign call, open houses. You could do ads, right? Facebook ads. You could put them in sales groups on Facebook for free, especially if you're a new agent. That's you can live there, right? Putting listings all the time. So you can generate your own buyers. That's part of it. Okay. I think it makes you a better agent. Now, some will argue being a great buyer's agent makes you a better listing agent. I think so too. I think that translates to that as well. I just think it's a tough life being a buyer's agent, especially the last couple of years, just driving and all the offers and documents you have to prepare, and knowing you're probably not going to get that one. And you may do that 6, 7 times. Like, that's shifting again, but understand it's still a harder life. If you can become a listing agent, you're going to have to obviously hone in on your skills. You're going to have to compete a little more and be able to do a value proposition a little better and things like that. But ultimately, you're going to negotiate. You're going to have to sell yourself, as far as not literally, but your value proposition to people, so they pick you over the other agents, right? You're going to have to do comps way more, because that's what you're dealing with. What's sold, maybe a competition. As a buyer's agent, you got to do comps too. But like for me, I don't do any comps until they're ready to write an offer. Once they want to write the offer, then I do comps on it. I don't do it before I meet or all the houses I show, because there's no way I couldn't keep it all up in my dome here, or have enough paper to take with me for every comp to see a house. I'm sure none of you are doing that. But so look, I already talked about, you're always going to be relevant in the business. You're going to have way more branding, right? I have had agents. We just had one join our team. He's a male guy, and he came in and said, look, I see your signs everywhere. I just got my real estate license. How do you do this? I don't know how to do any of what you're doing. I'm trying to transition into real estate, but it gets you branded. People start recognizing you. Okay. So that's a good thing in real estate. You want to be recognized as the expert, right? So always remember that as well. And then it makes you more valuable. And what I mean by that is, if you do decide to leave your brokerage, right? And if the brokerage is at all, or franchise, wherever you're going, or whoever it is smart, they're going to, a lot of these brokerages and things, they kind of negotiate. I used to be with a big franchise, and they would negotiate per person or per team, right? Some of you guys may be used to that, where, it depends on who you are and you get a better deal. Okay. And so if that's the case, being a listing agent will get you more. It should. Why? Because of signs. You're putting out, Johnson Real Estate for, 40 different times. If you list 40 houses, it's not only going to have your name and team on it, or your name, but their name too. So they're going to get branded more as well. So those franchises and or companies should see the value more in a listing agent than a buyer's agent, if that makes sense. So hopefully that made sense. Anybody got any questions from right here? If you can't unmute and just say them, or you want to type them, that's fine too. Any questions, concerns? None? All right, this is a good group, easy group. All right, here we go. Let's start with this one. Now, everybody's heard of this, but I'm going to teach you something different. All right. A for sale by owner is the easiest listing to get. Now, some of you are probably like, what? No way. It's because you're doing it incorrectly. Okay. So look, what you need to do, well, let's talk about this first. They're the lowest hanging fruit because they're already marketing their property. They're already saying, hey, everybody, I want to sell it. They're already providing contact info. Boom, easy. Hey, all right, right? And then they're already saying what price they're looking to sell it for. Not that it's a good price, because most of the time it's off Zillow, but ultimately they're three of those things. They're already presented to everybody out there. Lowest hanging fruit, meaning all you now have to focus on is building rapport with them to get them to trust and like you and list with you instead of doing it on their own. And we do it a bunch of different ways here. And that's a whole different course I could teach you on just for sale by owners. Could be like 2 hours. But so look, when you call, you've got to call. Anybody you call and do anything with is energy. You got to have energy, right? I'm a big energy guy. You don't want to talk to people who are monotone, not excited, and it's not exciting for you either. So you want to be excited. It makes them exciting or excited too. Okay. The goal is to set the appointment. Okay. Remember, You're setting the appointment as the goal. That's it. You're not trying to call and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is David Frost. I'm with the Frost team. I am looking to list your house. You interested? Or how come you haven't hired a real estate agent? How about me? I'd like to interview for it. Or any of these things. You're not calling for the listing. You're calling to see the home. Okay. Get the appointment. All right. Never ask for the listing over the phone. If they bring it up to you while you're on the phone, if they say, hey, Aaron, you know what? I'm glad you called me. I am thinking of listing it. What a perfect time. Your response should be, oh, well, that's great. Look, how about this? How about I schedule the appointment to meet with you so we have to tour the house? And while I'm there, I'll go over some of our marketing plan and how we sell 161 houses a year, right? You go into that, but you still appointment, right? Make sense? All right. Don't become combative over the price. So the script I have, our team has, it asks them, hey, where did you come up, with the sales price? And most are going to say house across the street sold at 200. Ours is 100 times better. And I know it's smaller and didn't have an in-ground pool and all, but ours is worth 500,000. That's, they're going to say that, right? Or Zillow. That's another piece. Okay. So, don't say, oh, Zillow's crap and that doesn't mean anything. And just say, oh, okay, gotcha. So you have a friend in business. Oh, house down the street. So gotcha. Or Zillow. Okay. I completely understand. You're just taking notes. Okay. Don't give them a CMA over the phone. Remember, appointment setting is what you're doing. Some will try to get you off on these tangents and different roads. And when you're newer, you go with it. So an agent on my team was listing a lot of houses in his first 6-7 months. I think he had like 9 houses listed, and he was on fire. He was an Army guy like me. He came out. He worked with me in the Army, came out and joined me doing real estate. And then all of a sudden he hit a dry spell. And I said, well, what's going on? What are you saying to them? Let's talk it over. And I ended up finding out is he was given comps, sales price, ways he would sell it and blah, blah, all on the phone. Before you know it, those same sellers listed with a different agent for all of what he gave them advice on, not for that agent calling them probably. So don't give up your goods on the first date. All right. So make sure you're getting in front of these people. Okay. Let's talk about the upfront objection, because I know a lot of you have heard this. Okay. So the upfront objection is this. Hey, Dave, thanks for calling. Look, you got a buyer for my property, right? That's what they're going to ask. Are you bringing a buyer? All right. So here's what you want to say to that. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, that's a great question. Look, I like to always tour houses or off-market properties. I like to always tour off-market properties before bringing any of my buyers. All right. It saves everybody time. And that way nobody's, anticipating something that may not happen. So I like to always tour off-market properties first before bringing any buyers. But I could have a buyer for you. Yes. You see, I could have a buyer, but I like to always tour off-market properties first before I bring them in person to save everybody time. All right. Never promise them you're bringing a buyer. I don't know how many times I've been to houses and the seller tells me, oh, just had an agent here. They were supposed to bring a buyer, but I guess that buyer canceled, or, it's a tactic that agents do. So don't do that. We're not supposed to mislead the public. And that's, I think, kind of misleading, unless you really do have a buyer for it. If you do, then you say that. All right. But also that can go against you, because if you meet them and the buyer hates the house, they're probably not going to let you list it. Right. So it's like a fine line to walk. Okay. All right. While you're on the appointment, here's what law enforcement has taught me the best. And I think it's overlooked, but it's probably the most important to any salesperson is rapport building. Energy starts to rapport building. The second piece is you got to relate to people and be able to talk to people so it's not awkward, right? And you keep everything flowing. So when you're on the appointment, that's what you want to do, establish rapport. I have a whole course on just that, from a law enforcement perspective. But ultimately, start with landscaping on the outside. You pull up, if it's got good curb appeal, make sure you let them know that, right? Kids are great. Profession, right? Sports, cities. I did this earlier today, right? I just was talking to Aaron and some other people. Where are you from? Oh, from Cincinnati. I'm from Cleveland. See, we have a connection now. Me and Aaron are forever connected because she's from Cincinnati and I'm from Cleveland. So no matter what, we're always going to like each other. All right. So, you got to try to build that rapport with people while you're there, because they want to like you and trust you to list with you. All right. And then look, the common objection for sale by owners is commission, right? That's basically it. They don't want to pay us. They don't feel like we're worth it, or they just think they could do our job. They don't want to pay us. So let's go over that real quick, right? It's if they ask you what your commission is, well, what's your commission? A great way to get around that, especially if you're a new agent, is say this: Aaron, that's a great question. My commission is 2.5% or 3% or whatever your side of the transaction is. Okay. I'm just going to go with 2% so I get through this example scenario. My commission is 2.5%. The real question, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is what do we want to pay the buyer's agent? I suggest no lower than 2%, 2.5%, 2.4%, whatever it may be in your market. Right now, buyer's agents are getting from 2 to 2.5% in our market. All right. So, just know that. So what's your commission? My response, great question, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. My commission is 2.5%. The real question here is, what do we want to pay the buyer's agent? I suggest no lower than 2%. That means your total commission to list with me will be 4.5%, and we'll get this thing sold. You see, that's one way. All right. Here's a great closing for them. All right. When you leave, before you leave, and if you establish good rapport, what you want to ask them is, hey, Aaron, look, I got a crazy question here. If I can make you the same amount of money or more than you can make selling on your own, but listing with me, does that interest you? Do you see what I did there? Right? I presented it to them in a different way. If I can make you the same amount of money or more than you selling it on your own, would that interest you listing with me? Right? Almost every time they say yes. If they don't say yes, they say this: well, we're already at the top of the market. I don't think we can go any higher. And, I don't know if you can make me any more money. So if they do that, you just go with it. Hey, I completely understand. I may or may not. I don't know, because I haven't looked for that while coming here. I came here to see it. Let me go back. Let me do some numbers. Let me get back to you. How's that? I'll follow up with you later today. Right? Then you go and do the numbers, or you may have already done the numbers, which you should have. Okay. Do the numbers in your head, no commission splits, know where you'll go. Always be a deal maker too. I want to tell you, that's a different class too. Any questions on for sale by owners? Come on. Any? None? Okay, I got you. Oh, I see one here. Going back to the initial call, are you able to give an example of what to say to capture their attention? So great question, Aaron. So look, I just say simply who we are, right? It's, hey, this is David Frost. I'm with the Frost team. I don't want to take too much of your time. I'm just calling about your house at 123 Smith Street. Is it still for sale? Yes, it is. Great. What price? And then I go into my script, which is what's the sales price on it right now? Boom, boom, boom. Okay, great. That's a great price. All right, write it down. Great. All right. So how long has it been on the market? So I know my script already. How long has it been on the market? Any offers? Right. And then you get into, can I see it today at 5 or the next day? Does that make sense? So nothing really flashy, because you're just getting the appointment. And that's why you're calling them. You want to know if it's still on the market. You want to know what price, if they had any offers, because that's kind of you putting it in the back of your head, right? Okay, no offers yet. It's been on the market a month, right? Because then when you get to the house with the rapport building, hey, where are you guys going? Oh, you're going to Florida? I've been to Florida. Florida's great. The weather's great, way better than Cleveland, a little bit better in North Carolina where I'm at now. But, you establish that rapport. When do you got to get there? Oh, in the next 40 days. Look, their time's ticking, right? Now they're going to have to get this thing sold, right? So it all becomes strategic, okay? So any other questions with these? You guys, I think they can unmute. God, everyone, what would you respond to? I have a friend in the business that is advising me. Well, these are funny. Like, you can respond to a lot of different ways. I would say this is your friend local? Is your friend a realtor? Right? Find these out, right? If they're not a local real estate agent, then I was kind of hone in on that. Hey, look, nothing against your friend, but California, we have an agent out here for California. They're selling houses different than we are, in a sense of their laws, their processes are a little different. So I would just be cognizant of that, of your friend, like where they're at state, if they're not licensed here, right? And even if you're being advised from a friend to sell your house, they're still not going to know our contracts if not here or licensed here. And look, I've got somebody on here. My cousin actually is an agent in Ohio, and she's with us, and we try to help her. She's a newer agent, and look, I try to read her contracts, but I don't know it. You know, no matter how much I want to know it, I just can't figure it out, you know, how Ohio does it, you know, versus how we do it. So I would hone in on that, right? Is, you know, these contracts would be different. So that's how I'd go about that. All right. Let's see. Any other questions here? Are you just watching Zillow? I hawk to find for sale bone. No, that's a good question. I'm not laughing at the question. Like yeah, because there's agents. I had an agent on my team. That's what he would do. He would sit there and be like, there's another one, right? Look, not really. I think you have to put it in your schedule. All these things you need to put in your schedule. You know, one agent on my team, that's all he did was for sale by owners because it was easy for him. And he did it well, you know, in 6 months or so, I think he listed something like 8 houses, most of them for sale by owners. I would say probably 6 of those were either for sale by owner or an absentee owner. So, you know, I would just say you should put it in your schedule to do, but I think you should do this type of stuff every day. Okay. I call it movement to contact. Army guy. I was on tanks early on in my career, and that's what you would call when you go, you're moving into combat to get contact. You're trying, you know, in a tank, it's a little easier, but so I call that the same thing with prospecting is movement to contact. Everybody needs to move to some kind of contacting, your SOI for sale by owners, past leads, follow-up lead movement. You got to move to it. All right. Okay. Yep. Let's go. So next slide. Here we go. Or not. Let me click the button here. All right. Next one, expireds. Look, these are going to come back. Okay. And here's what I want you to know with all of these type of homeowners, as a former law enforcement guy, you know, I pretty much profiled them in a sense. What is their mindsets? I've done so many of these. This is how I started. Expired, for sale by owners, prospecting, right? Circle prospecting. All these things weren't always the sexiest thing, but it started my career and it's done well for my team as well. I mean, we list a lot of these things I'm going to talk to you about today. But look, the profile of our expired is they have a bad taste in their mouth. They're disgruntled from an agent standpoint. You've got to get them over that, why you're different. And I'm going to go into that real quick is our script goes into some things and asks them certain questions. The biggest one you want to ask an expired is, hey, tell me, what do you think the other agent that you had could have done better? They're going to give you the answer they want or they're looking for, meaning all you got to do is write it down. So here's what, so similar that they'd say, well, they didn't have professional photographs. You're going to write down professional photographs. That's what you're going to tell them you're going to do. They only communicated with me to drop the price. That was 4 months in communication, right? You're going to start jotting these things down. You're going to be strategic. At the end of the script conversation you have with them, you're going to say, look, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I listened to what you said, man. I feel terrible of how things went for you before, but look, let me tell you exactly how I would do things. You mentioned photography was a big deal and they came in and took photos on their own and with their phone or whatever it is. I'm going to hire a professional photographer. That always helps because those are the first things that people are going to see, right? Photographs, communication. Look, I communicate with my clients once every 2 weeks. Is that too much for you or is that too little? You see, that's how you use it to get them to change their mind about you versus their last agent. So focus in on what the other agent could have done better, write down the notes that they tell you, and then you come back with how you're going to be better from what they tell you. All right. Go to recently expired. I used to prospect ones that expired a day prior. I did not wait because if you wait, you got all these other agents calling them too. So get to it first. I always say if you're not first, you're last, meaning not the Ricky Bobby one, Will Ferrell movie, but first, if you get to them first and you're really good, you can close them out. If you get to them last, you can change their mind about the first guy or girl. If you can close them out at the end, see what I mean? Go back past expireds. I would do that. Go a couple years, depending on your market. Right. All right. We got a question. All right, let's see. Do you feel it's better to call when you first see it or wait till? Okay, yep, I got it. See, I just answered that. Yeah. Hello? Yep. You got a question? Who's that? No. All right. So you just got to know that you're going to have to overcome the other agent's mistakes when you're talking. Past expireds, you can even get really hyper local, meaning go to a subdivision, just focus on those expireds, because then you can learn about, especially if you're new, learn about that subdivision as much as you can. Days on market, homes sold, homes that didn't sell, homes that are pending, and then go after the expireds there so you can go ahead and talk about it. Okay, do you have a question? No? Okay, I'm gonna mute. I think she's unmuted. Okay. All right. Like I said, what did the agent could have done better? What could have the agent done better? So that's what you focus on. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, here's one that most people never heard of. Okay, this is a top producer list, is what I call it. So the process is this: you focus in on the top producers in your market, and you just pick, say you got like a massive team or a top producing agent, pick one, right? And then go back a few years for their sales. Say it's 2017. Print out all of Johnny Smith's, hopefully there's no Johnny Smith here, Johnny Smith's production for 2017. Print them out. Then you're going to go in. Now, this is going to take time, and you should do it in the afternoons, not in the mornings. Afternoons is preparing numbers and stuff like that. Your mornings should be prospecting and calling SOIs, stuff like that. So you're going to get a list. You're going to look for you're going to start searching in MLS, see if that list, if the home sold again. Okay. Print out a list 2017 for Johnny Smith, all of his sales. Then you're going to go back into MLS and one by one, 123 Smith Street. Did this one sell? Nope, hasn't sold again. That's the same buyers. I put it on another list. That's going to be my call list now. So I'm going to do that for all of Johnny Smith sales in 1 year. Okay. And before you know it, I may have 40 houses over here that still haven't resold. They're still there. Same buyers when Johnny was the listing agent and sold it, right? And then the rest now are off my list. Say they resold. Okay. I'm going to start trying to find numbers for that list. So I'm going to start trying to find numbers and then start calling those owners now and say, hey, look, this is who I am. I'm just calling homeowners like you. You bought about 6 years ago. Any interest in selling anytime soon, or any interest in having a home evaluation done for you, right? And no matter what they tell you, send them a home evaluation, no matter what, even if it's a text. Hey, look, I think your resale is 300,000, because money talks. We've had people who are like, not interested. We send them home evaluation. They're like, what? I can sell my house with that? Now I'm interested, right? How long do you think it'd take? Then they start asking more questions, get some dialogue. So did everybody understand this? You search a top producer 1 year at a time, right? Then you're going to search all those again in MLS to make sure they haven't resold just this year or last year, right? And then the ones who haven't are on your call list. Make sense? All right. And then the systems I have down there, look, RedX is a good system. It's got geo leads. You got Spokio is a system. Deal Machine. I'm going to give you a link to Deal Machine. Deal Machine is a lifesaver. I'm telling you. I don't work for Deal Machine, by the way. But Deal Machine, if I had it in 2014 when I started, I would have been a top producer faster. Okay. Or you can send it to a skip tracer. Fiverr has got people that will skip trace numbers for you, but you've got to give them 20 or more at a time for them to make any money. So you can do like 100 people list and addresses. You could send it into the people in Fiverr and they'll run a skip trace for you, get you all the numbers, emails, and everything they can find. Some are great numbers, some aren't so good, but majority are pretty good. All right. So that's a way to do it. Top producer list. All right. Got a lot of questions here. All right, Brittany. Okay, Brittany. Are we able to get a copy of the recording? Yes. Melinda, are you leaving? Don't leave, Melinda. All right, next slide. Driving for dollars. So here's another one. Look, if you guys don't have anything going on in the afternoons, right? If you're a newer agent, drive certain neighborhoods, not rough neighborhoods. Like my cousin, she was going in the ghetto and all these rough neighborhoods looking for rundown houses. And she thought I meant that versus you're just going to drive neighborhoods for vacant houses and or houses that do look run down. Okay. Like the grass is high. You can tell nobody's been living there for a while. This is great for you for potential listing leads. Okay. So we call it driving for dollars. You take it to subdivision, drive around it, and then you write down addresses that you find that look run down or vacant. Then you come back to your office, find a number, and you call them and say, hey, this is David Frost from the Frost team. I was driving around this neighborhood, blah, 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 in this subdivision, and I ran across your house at 123 Smith Street. I don't know if it's rented or whatever, but, you know, any interest in selling it or knowing how much it's worth? Never say you saw it and it looks run down or, you know, got to fall over or whatever. We had an agent do that and a person still lived there. So that's probably not a good thing. So she didn't get that listing. So you don't want to do that, but you want to, you know, for sure say, hey, I don't know if it's rented or what, but any interest in selling it? Because you've already seen how it looks and you know it's vacant for the most part. And, you know, so they may have inherited the house, right? Maybe it's been rented and the renters have left. They don't even know it because they're not in the state, you know, whatever. Or maybe they forgot about it. We had an agent list land and the family's like, oh yeah, we had that on Zillow for the last 2 years. We forgot all about it. Guess what? We got one of the land pieces under contract now. See, sometimes it happens. So drive for dollars and look for absentee owners. That link there that I gave you, that deal machine at RainmakerU, that should get you, I think it's a free week. So you guys get in there and use it. It is great. You can skip trace from it and you can mail out from it. Skip tracing is like 13 cents per number or per address, sorry. Right? So you can put an address in there, hit a button, it will tell you all the info on address, who the owners are, when they bought it, tax value, and then you could skip trace it for the number and any contact information right from the app or on your computer. And it's 13, 14 cents. And you can mail out, you can do campaigns to them. And I can't remember how much that is. So just go in there and look at it. It's not that expensive either, but think about that. That's effective right off the bat. So check out Deal Machine. I'm telling you, great. All right, let's see, more questions. Britt, maybe you can read them. Okay, no, Britt's just posting stuff. Okay, good. Melinda's not leaving. All right, good. All right. So Britt is going ahead and putting stuff in the chat, you know, section so you guys could see some of the stuff I'm talking about. All right, next slide. Look, rentals is a big piece to our team's listing too. Is here you can list a rental 3 months out from the lease ending. So most of our leases here are a year at a time. Maybe yours is similar. I don't know, but obviously you gotta play with it as far as your market. But ours, so we reach out about 9 to 10 months prior to the lease ending. Okay, to the owners. We get the numbers and then we call the owners. And basically the script is easy. It's just, hey, this is who I am. You know, wondering if at all what you're going to do after this lease ends. You know, any interest in selling it, any interest in know how much it's worth, things like that. The biggest kickback from them is, well, I don't want to kick the renters out. I know, well, in North Carolina, you're not kicking them out. Once they're in a lease, they're in a lease. So we always tell them, well, you're not kicking them out. They're not going to be, they're still good for the lease. But once the lease ends, hopefully, if you list it early enough with us, like now, we've got 2 months to get an offer and get a closing. Soon as the renters leave, the rental company comes in and does their inspection, and then we close. Boom. You don't have to make any payments. You don't skip a beat. So now you collected your rent all the way up. Renters didn't get booted early, right? And then you sold it a couple of days after that. This happens all the time. We've done this plenty of times on my team, right? That's how we go about that. And here's the big thing too for renters is you tell them, listen, no matter what, this is a 10th month. You got 2 more months with the tenant. Why don't we put it up for sale and you get 2 months of marketing with us trying to sell it, and the property management company should be starting to market it soon too if the tenants are leaving. So now you get double the exposure with marketing. Whatever comes first, go with it. Another renter comes in, great. You want to do that? Great. If we can get a contract and sell, even better. You win. All right. So Aaron on my team. Didn't want to do that. Aaron on my team is a killer. Aaron, are you there? You want to chime in on anything?
Yes, I'm here. I actually have a couple notes that I wrote down. I wanted to pitch in to you. Can y'all hear me?
I can. I got you.
Okay. All right. So I wanted to talk about rentals a little bit just because they could arguably be some of the lowest hanging fruit, just like you were saying for sale by owners are. And what I mean by that is they're not living in that house. So that's, whenever we cold call people or somebody that's already living in the house for whatever reason we're reaching out to, they're living in the house. So then it's like, oh, well, I'm not sure if I'm ready to sell. I don't know if I have enough, equity in the house yet, things like that. Well, odds are these people that have rental properties can sell their house. You just have to, be on the lookout for that. But so there's also so many different possibilities with landlords, I guess you could say, rental properties, about 3 different ways that you could possibly get a deal off of it. So whenever you get a hold of them on the phone, if one of their objections is, oh, this is more of a long-term investment for me. Well, we live in a military market here in Jacksonville, so we hear that a lot, but odds are it's somebody that just got orders somewhere else. But in any market, somebody could tell you that it's a long-term investment for them. So that's not necessarily shutting it down for you, because that opens up about 2 or 3 more doors. Do you have several in the area that you're looking to sell? Do you have any of them that you just want me to run numbers on for the future? Has anybody done that for you in the last year or so? So that those are possibly several listings that you could get if you have established a good rapport with them. And then if they're not looking to sell anything at all, no, we are not interested. Okay, well, would you like to expand your portfolio? Can I start sending you some of these properties that my team and I have listed? Are you looking to buy any more in the area since you're an investor? So there's just so many opportunities here, all because you decided to look at rental properties in your area.
Excellent. Yeah. So hopefully everybody caught on to that. That is great. Great info. That's why she's listed, like in her first year, she listed 25 houses. She sold 25 houses, listed, I think 18. So, that's a lot, everybody. And then, so she's good at what she's doing, and she's strategic in thinking. So if you're not, you need to start thinking that way, being more strategic with what you're doing and your actions. Okay. So that's the rental side. Somebody got a question? Let's see. You said, okay, have you considered telling this renter to buy more? Okay. Yep. She talked about that. Yep. That's guy is on our team too. He had that piece there. All right. Next slide. Let's see. So your SOI. All right. Look, your SOI should be the piece that's going to be your gold mine for a long term. Okay. But you got to build it. Easy way to build it if you're new is just go into your phone and start with A, go all the way to Z. Put as many people in that you think, you have full contact info from, or you think could buy or sell or are homeowners. Just start putting them in your database, even if they live in different states, because then you could still reach out to them and get referrals. Okay. So don't just put it to people that live near you, but start building your database that way. That's the easy way to do it. Reach out at least every 90 days, Okay. You've got to stay in contact with them. That again, if you're strategic, you understand that statistically agents don't. Okay. So if you know that, then you need to be better with yours, and you also need to be better with others' clients. Does that make sense? So reaching out to those past sales, like top producer lists, things like that, most likely their agents aren't. So you're going to be ahead of the game. So strategically try to place yourself above everybody, right? And I have a whole course on strategic agent, it's called. And I give you tidbits of how you can go from at the bottom, being even with everybody, to strategically here quick. All right. So, and not buy difficult stuff. And like I said, most agents focus on new business and not what they've already had. So you've got to be able to combine that. We have a new construction team here. They sell like 400 houses a year, all new construction, but they have nobody going after them after they buy. I would have a whole resale team at that point. You focus on all the ones we just sold, and we're going to do a whole farming and staying in contact. And I have this team over here do all new construction. That would be my idea. So if you're out there doing a bunch of new construction, you probably need to hire an agent or a team to just focus on staying in contact with the ones who've sold. And then you continue focusing on selling a new construction. That way you really will kill it. That agent probably sell 700 houses a year if they did that. I'm not going to tell them though. Schedule a client appreciation day, meaning put it in your calendar every week, every 2 weeks, whatever it is, but where you're sitting down and you're writing thank you notes. You're writing birthday cards. You're doing videos to a select number of people, right? Or you're that week, instead of just, a whole list of people, you're doing who you talked to that week. And then you're sending them thank you cards, but make it a day. Could be every Friday or whatever day it is. Just try to make a specific day where that's what you're doing. Handwritten notes, videos to them, happy birthday cards, whatever it is. Okay. So that's a good way to do it. Spotlight somebody in your database. So if they're a small business owner, they own a flower shop, ask them, hey, can I, do a client spotlight or whatever you want to call it, right? To where I'm going to market you in the database, right? This gets you, your people are going to love you for doing that, especially small business owners or whatever. And just say, hey, every month you're going to pick one person and then you showcase them in a video maybe, right? Or in just an ad, some kind of flyer, or even an email, right? Hey, if you guys are looking to buy flowers, please visit Johnny's Flower Shop. Here's his number, here's his contact. He's in our database here. He can take care of any needs you may have with flowers, whatever. Okay, so videos, emails, stuff that'd be great. People would really like that, and I'm positive they'll send business your way. Okay. Pop buys, you guys probably know about a little bit, is where you go into every past client or people in your database and you're giving them a little gift of something. Maybe it's like chocolate milk or hot chocolate things or something like that. But as you grow your database, it's going to be very hard to go to everybody and you make that your goal. You probably want to do reverse pop buys, meaning you have everything at the office. You let everybody know, or the list that you want to come by. Maybe it's 20 one day, 30 the next. Hey guys, swing by my office this week. I've got a present for you. So then they come to you. Make sure you capture that with videos, photographs, and share that on social media. Capture events, by the way. Capture as much as you can with events. You want to send them a home evaluation. You could do 6 months, depending on your market. If it's that moving still, maybe it's just once a year, but always send them home evaluation. All right. Send your new listings and your solds in your database. I forget that all the time. So just do that. And, you stay in front of people as well. Adopt buyers from your listings that you sold. Because remember what I just said, strategically, agents suck at that. They're no good at staying in contact with their last clients. They sell, they buy, they forget them. Okay. So if you're the listing agent and it's sold, a month or so, send them a thank you card. Hey, thanks for buying 123 Smith Street. Hope everything's going well. If you need anything real estate related, let me know. Right. And then stay in contact with them. Try to still get their contact information, put them in your database and send them videos and do the same thing. Be that face for them. Okay. Because strategically agents aren't doing that. Ask for their business. I lost a lot of business because I didn't ask for it. It's crazy, right? I do a lot of videos. I do a lot of things, but clients thought, well, you're too busy, Dave. I see you're doing so many sales, or I've totally forgot. Oh my God. They may not be on social media. So make sure to ask, hey, look, if you are going to sell or buy, I'm your agent, right? And if not, I want to be. How can I be? So make sure you do it in a way that that you stay top of mind. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay, got it. All right, next slide. This should be it here, I think. So look, here's some systems that I think can help you and places to go. So, for sale by owner, somebody asked earlier about Zillow, but you can go to, military by owner. You could go for salebyowner.com. You got Zillow, Fizber's one, Facebook sales groups and marketplace too. People put their houses on there as well. So you can go there. Any questions here? No? All right. Here's my contact info, okay? if you guys are interested in, going further with me or a coach or anything like that, I would love to do it. You can visit our site there. I'm also going to throw another webinar. That's going to be, I think, March 30th, right, Britt? 1 o'clock. And we are going to go over, now that you got listings, the market's shifted a little bit. How do you sell a stagnant listing? How do you sell a listing that is having a hard time selling? So I'm going to give you a bunch of different ways. I think there's like 15 different ways aside from the price drop. Okay. Everybody goes right to a price drop or a price improvement. We're going to give you ideas of not to do that first, do some other things first. And then last but not least would be that. So we'd love for you to join us. It's the 30th, right, Britt? Nope, she jumped.
Yes, sir. I posted the information in the chat box.
All right, great. So anybody have any questions for me? What are the ethics? Reach out to buyers on listings allowed because there are no. That's right. Yeah, I mean, great question, Beth. Once they've closed out, like in North Carolina, the buyer agency is done. They've bought. They've fulfilled that contract with whoever their agent was. Now you can reach out to them anytime you want. So state to state, I don't know. I'd imagine it's probably the same, but you guys have to research that. But I know in North Carolina, we can. The buyer agency is over once they purchase. We're done. We closed. It's over. So so you can do that. Okay. All right. Any more questions? No more questions. All right. Well, look, we hopefully you guys learned something today. If you got any questions or anything, you can still reach out to us later. And then hopefully we'll see you guys on the next webinar. All right. Thanks, everybody. You guys take care.